Rotarians and guests, welcome to the March 31st meeting of the Rotary Club of York, and a very special meeting indeed it is. Our members are committed to service above self and Rotary's four-way test. Leading us today in our song and pledge is Alan Roth, and delivering our invocation is President-elect nominee Glenn Miller. Alan.
Thank you, President Ann. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Please join me in a word of prayer. From the 28th chapter of the book of the prophet Jeremiah, see the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for the city, because if it prospers, you also shall prosper. Let us pray. Lord God of the nations, we come before you this day thankful for all of your many blessings. We are grateful for the inbreaking of spring and the signs of life and hope that abound around us. We are grateful for signs of finally emerging from the darkness and the difficulties of this year-long pandemic. We are grateful as well for the life and hope of our city of York that we are privileged to call our home. We pray today for our speaker, Mayor Michael Helfrich, and for all those who, in partnership with him, are called to lead our city. Use them and use us to make York a place of goodness and blessing and prosperity for all. Gracious God, we are also thankful this day for the decades of service of our departing executive and our friend, Bert Oberdick. Her work and her service among us has been extraordinary. Our appreciation and love for her is unending, even as her retirement is now upon us. Bless her in this new chapter of her life. Grant her health, happiness, and prosperity all of her days. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Alan and Glenn. And now Kevin Apnell will share a Youth Leadership College Service Awards.
All right, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me? All right, well, Rotarians, good afternoon. As the chair of the Youth Leadership Committee here at the Rotary Club of York, it's my honor to introduce you to three individuals from our local colleges who have earned College Service Awards. While I have a strong sense that all three excel academically, today we're just going to focus on their achievements of service to their college community. And with its commitment to service above self, what better organization than Rotary to bestow such an award? Now, let me introduce you to the three award recipients, and we're just going to go by alphabetical order by school. So there's zero favoritism whatsoever, just going to go by school. So our first College Service Award recipient is Rachel Flegel. Rachel is currently a communications and public relations major at Harrisburg Area Community College, and she's the daughter of Brad and Carol Flegel. At her school, Rachel is serving as the Student Government Association president, serves as the student leader in the new student orientation department. She is the section editor for the Hawkeye, which is HAC's student media site, and she is the secretary of the Alpha Nu Omega chapter of the Honor Society Phi Theta Kappa. Rachel's been recognized in the 2021 Middle State Region's Hall of Honor, and she's a 2021 Coca-Cola Gold Scholarship recipient. In her free time, Rachel loves ballroom dancing and swing dancing, playing the piano, reading, and she's known to love a family game night or movie night. Rachel's currently planning her next move, and she's likely to transfer to a four-year college to earn a BA in communications, with the goal to help others in a meaningful way by working with a nonprofit and focusing on digital media. Next, we have Mihua Do. Mihua is a biology major excuse me, at Penn State York, and she's the daughter of Si Do and Miyu Nguyen. At Penn State York's campus, Mihua is the president of Heroes of Penn State, which is a community service club. She's also the secretary of the University Programming Board, a Lion ambassador, orientation leader, and a tutor. She's also received recognition as a part of Penn State York's honors program. In her free time, Mihua practices Taekwondo and plays flute and piano. Her career goal is to become a physician's assistant. Our final service award recipient is Alison Altimos. Alison is a secondary education mathematics major at York College of Pennsylvania. She's the daughter of Teresa Fiorelli and Rodney Altimos. At York College, Alison is a student senate president, brother of Phi Sigma Pi honors fraternity, a first-year seminar fellow, member of the campus activities board, orientation leader, education ambassador, Spartan alumni council member, and part of the campaign cabinet for York College of Pennsylvania. Alison has earned several scholarships throughout her career, including the York College Heritage Scholarship, the Alumni Association Scholarship, the Lewis and Joan Root Scholarship, Leopold Shep Foundation Scholarship, the Aquilino Memorial Scholarship, the Emily Allen Kane Golden Rule Scholarship, and the Student Senate Service Award. In her free time, when she's not accepting scholarships, Alison practices calligraphy and hand lettering. Alison's career goal is to be a math teacher working with 7th through 12th grade students. Rotarians, please join me in giving our College Service Award recipients a virtual round of applause. I guess I'll be the only one you can hear clapping, but everyone else is clapping as well. All right. In addition to this public recognition, I just want to mention each recipient will receive $250 to recognize their community service. I'd like to once again say congratulations to all three of you, but I must warn you, if you continue this path of service above self, it will attract the attention of others, and there's a very good chance you're going to be asked to become a Rotarian in the future. So when this day comes, I hope you'll consider answering that call and becoming a Rotarian. Wherever your path is going to lead you, continue to serve others, continue to do great things, and remember to keep in mind another Rotary motto, that one profits most who serves best. Congratulations, and President Ann, I turn the program back over to you.
Thank you, Kevin, and congratulations to Rachel, Mihua, and Alison. You are clearly involved and engaged young women, and I'm sure that your significant works are inspiring others. Keep up the great work. We wish you the best in your future, and we always welcome you to join our club every Wednesday. Take care, and thank you so much. Congratulations, ladies. Now we'll move on to our announcements. Thanks to all of our members for your support of our book drive. We are almost at our $3,000 goal. Today is the donation deadline. You can donate online or contact Lynn at the office to be invoiced. And now for another fun video from our Literacy Committee.
Story time with the Literacy Committee. This week's books: Pete the Cat and the Bad Coronavirus. Oh, the places you won't go. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad 2020.
91% of the world's student population has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Research tells us that when education is interrupted, not only does learning stop, but students also begin to lose hard-earned skills acquired when in school. This loss increases as children move up in age and grade. The loss is also greater for children in poverty.
The Rotary Club Literacy Committee Book Drive is back. Our goal is to raise $2,000 for the Child Development Center at the First Church of the Brethren and the Salvation Army. Your donations will help provide reading materials for more than 200 local children.
Thanks for coming to Story Time. Good night now.
Thanks to the Literacy Committee for the fun announcements. I love the embellishment on Dr. Seuss, "Oh, the places you won't go." So, and thanks to all for your contributions. Now, up next, Give Local York is coming up Friday, May 7th. This year, our club is partnering with child care consultants to bridge the gap for working families in need of affordable, quality child care. The funds we raise via Give Local will provide partial child care scholarships to local Alice families. They're asset limited, income constrained, employed. By ensuring their children are well cared for, we will help parents complete needed training and retain jobs so they can transition to self-sufficiency. You are invited to join fellow Rotarians and donate on May 7th during Give Local York. This Saturday, Rotarians and volunteers will be removing stakes, ties, and tree guards from the trees along the trail. If you can use some of these supplies, contact Shelley Rydell by the end of day tomorrow and make arrangements to pick up the supplies on Saturday. Well, our presidential theme for this year for Rotary International is Rotary Opens Opportunities. And today, the Rotary Club of York seizes the opportunities to celebrate. And we actually have 2 March 31 events that we're going to celebrate today. It was on this very day, 105 years ago, that the Rotary Club of York acorn was planted. And today we celebrate the mighty oak that it has become. On March 31st, 1916, York City businessman, pictured here, Morgan Gipe, invited a few people to discuss an idea. Mr. Gipe had attended a Rotary meeting in Harrisburg, and he believed York City was fertile ground to form a Rotary Club. During the March 31st preliminary meeting, he outlined the procedure for forming a Rotary Club. Those attending agreed. The following month, the first official meeting of the Rotary Club of York was held on Monday, April 17th, and Morgan Gipe was elected president. On June 1st of 1916, the Rotary Club of York was officially chartered with 26 members. Today is the 105th anniversary of that preliminary meeting that resulted in forming our Rotary Club of York. Happy anniversary to all of us, and a special thank you. Cheers to Mr. Gipe. March 31st is a significant day for our club for another very special reason. Bert Oberdick, the Rotary Club of York's administrative assistant / executive coordinator / den mother for the past 27 years, is retiring today. Bert specifically asked that the club not do anything special to mark the occasion. And for the first time in 27 years, we did not listen to you, Bert. Bert became our administrative assistant in November of 1993 when Ron Earhart was club president. Since then, she has worked with 27 Rotary Club of York presidents, or it may be more appropriate to say that 27 club presidents have worked with Bert, maybe for Bert. And for 27 years, Bert has always been here, always cheerful, always helpful, always considerate of all of our members. As the club grew under Bert's guidance, so did Bert's workload. She supported the work of 40 committees and became a special events specialist, from gooey bananas to the golf outing. In recognition of her years of patience and success, and after attending more than 550 meetings prior to her induction as a member, Bert was made an honorary Rotarian on April 21, 2004. Yes, give or take a few skiing vacations, Bert has been at every Rotary meeting for the past 27 years. And for many of those years, many of us remember that Bert often sat with her father, Rotarian Don Warner. It has been an eventful 27 years, Bert. The Rotary Club of York has grown to become one of the largest clubs in the world. To achieve great growth, special care is necessary. Bert, thank you for serving as an excellent caretaker of our club. The mighty Rotary Club of York Oak has flourished under your guidance. It became clear with growth there was a need for another set of hands to assist Bert, and the club welcomed Renee Oberdick. Though not related, Bert and Renee are certainly Rotary soul sisters. Thanks for that, Gordon. Bert has advanced major changes for the Rotary Club of York for almost 3 decades. Moving the office from the Yorktown Hotel to the Red Cross building where she is right now a few years ago was daunting, but accomplished with good humor, as was the moving the meeting location to the Country Club of York. This past year was also replete and full of challenges as the club moved to in-person gatherings, to virtual, to hybrid, and now back to virtual meetings. And the smile rarely left Bert's face. Let's hope that warm smile is still there today, Bert, as we salute you for 27 years of service, caretaking, and love for the Rotary Club of York. Bert, you are forever a major part of our history, and you are a part of our future. Here to share a special announcement regarding your role in our future is past president and Charitable Endowment Fund President Brian Tate. Following Brian is President-elect Jackie Summers for another special presentation.
Actually, I think I'm going to jump ahead of you, Brian. Is that right?
Go right ahead. Ladies first.
All right. So, Bert, I dropped off a box to you this morning. If you want to just show us that box, that would be awesome. As you know, that's great. Thanks. Bert has made it abundantly clear that she does not like to be in the spotlight, and we respect that. However, there are hundreds of people who really wanted to have the opportunity to wish you well, to share a memory, to share congratulations, and to remember you. And so we came up with this idea that we thought would be a way to honor you, but that you could enjoy in the privacy of your own home, in your favorite chair, with your favorite bowl of ice cream. And so you can go ahead and remove that ribbon and open that box, and we will explain to you what is inside.
It was so pretty, I hated to do that to it. Okay.
So Bert, this is called an awesome box. If you just want to hold one of those up. And an awesome box is comprised of cards of pictures, stories, well wishes for you. And so since there was such an outpouring of love and support for you, we couldn't do just one box. It actually required filling 3 awesome boxes in your gift. And in addition to that, after the meeting, Renee will send you a link so that you will have a digital version of this awesome box as well. In fact, it is pretty much set to music, so you can enjoy the slideshow anytime in perpetuity, and hopefully it'll bring you a lot of smiles and a lot of joy. In addition to those 3 awesome boxes, you'll also see a beautiful picture book that our very own Ken Cooper created for you, which is a combination of events and Rotary meetings, photographs that really capture your years of service to our club. And you'll see on the back, there's a lovely picture on the very back cover of you and your husband. So thank you, Ken Cooper, for creating that for us. And just to illustrate what a small world Rotary is, I just have to share with Rotarians that this awesome box was created by a company in California. And when they saw that it was coming to York, the co-owner reached out to us and said, I just need to share with you that my father was the senior pastor of First Presbyterian Church in York. And his name is Jade Deifel. Actually was. Yeah. He sadly passed away. And he was a former Rotarian of our club. So this co-owner was really thrilled to be able to provide this gift for you. All the way from California. So we wanted to share this with you, and Bert, we just have one more surprise that we'd love to show you. And I'm going to now turn it over to past President Brian Tate to share that.
Thanks, Jackie. Bert, I'm honored to join in your accolades today as both the president of the Charitable Endowment Fund and as this year's chair of the club's past presidents committee. 27 past presidents and our current president's lineup have had the great opportunity to work closely with you. Over each president's year, you and the president spent a considerable amount of time working together to not only keep our club running smoothly, but also to set the leadership tone for the club while working with the Rotary District and Rotary International, which ultimately resulted in Rotary Club of York being one of the largest clubs in the world each year. In thinking about your retirement, Bert, after 27 plus years of faithful work, the past presidents and current presidents have worked together to honor you. Thanks to 2 past presidents who provided the seed money, and thanks to all living past presidents, 100%, including those who have retired from our club, as well as our current president lineup, it's our honor to announce a named endowed fund at our charitable endowment fund for what you care most about. Today, we announce our gifts totaling in excess of $40,000 that create the Bert Oberdick Non-Traditional Scholarship Fund, your perpetual legacy, Bert, at Rotary Club of York, supporting adult students who deserve the opportunity to earn higher education to advance themselves. Congratulations, Bert, and thank you for everything you've done for us and everything you will forever do for adult learners in our community. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know what to say except thank you. And excuse me, but we are 8 minutes in. We were only supposed to use 4. So, hello. Obviously, you're not listening to me today. But sincerely to everyone, thank you very much. This is also kind and thoughtful from all of you. It's been an amazing 27 years with lots of special memories of people, places, and club events. I will certainly enjoy this box of gift of memories, and it's been my pleasure to work with and for all of you, and I look forward to keeping in touch, seeing you around town, and hearing all about what the club is doing. Biggest thanks to Renee, who has been my right-hand man, so to speak, even though that's not politically correct. She's done a yeoman's job all the time. And the scholarship is a wonderful, wonderful tribute. Thank you so much. And time is done now. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Bert. We knew we could only get off schedule this one time.
One time.
Thank you,
you.
Jeff, Ryan, and to all the past presidents and current leadership for your support of this amazing scholarship that reflects the heart and soul that Bert has put into our club for this named endowment. And now we have a little bit of fun to break up this teary moment, and that is a poll. So how will Bert spend her time during retirement?
Gee, could we have found a better picture?
Spending time with her grandchildren, enjoying ice cream, baking desserts, or all the above. We have a record crowd of about 130. I know we've seen some faces. Past presidents joined us today, very special. Michelle Baker, Jack Henkel. So give it another second or two and we'll cast your votes for what we think Bert will be doing in her retirement. That's above and beyond Wednesdays when we know she'll be tuning into meetings.
Old Harry would die hard, that's for sure.
Is that right?
All the above. I hope to. Absolutely.
Well, we know you'll be having a great time, Bert. We wish you the best. And thanks to your husband as well and your family for all the support that they've given you.
Thank you. And I truly appreciate everything you've done. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. And Bert, we are back on time. It's
okay.
Megan Gibbon to the virtual podium to introduce the mayor. Megan.
Hello, and thanks for having me do this. We realize this is the 4th time now that I've gotten the honor to introduce the mayor. So this should be familiar to most of you by now, but Mayor Michael Way Helfrich was elected the mayor of York City on November 8th, 2017, and he took the oath of office on January 2nd, 2018. Prior to his mayorship, he sat on York City Council since 2012, serving as both vice president and president. Mayor Helfrich grew up in West York, but he spent a lot of his time in his youth in the city of York. graduated in the top 5 of his class in 1988 from West York High School, go Bulldogs. And after graduation, Mayor Helfrich attended York College, but he spent most of his 20s traveling the country. In 2001, Mayor Helfrich returned to York City and he started the nonprofit, the Cadorus Creek Improvement Partnership. Since 2005, he served as the Lower Susquehanna River Keeper, and he's always advocating to improve the waterways in the communities around central Pennsylvania and in northern Maryland. Mayor Helfrich is a local historian, and he lives in the oldest owner-occupied home in the city of York, the Cookis House, which is also known as the Tom Paine House. It was built in 1761. In his spare time, Mayor Helfrich enjoys spending time with his daughter Lily, fishing in the Cadorus Creek, eating at Central Market, and listening to and playing music around the city of York. So, Rotarians, please help me welcome Mayor Michael Helfrich.
Thank you very much, Megan. And I'm not sure when I don't remember when I had spare time, but I'll try and find some. Thank you all for having me here today and for your prayers. I do want to say I don't think it's fair to make somebody cry right before they have to give a speech. That was a very touching moment. Congratulations, Bert. And thank you for your commitment to the York Rotary and to the people of York and throughout the world that the Rotary has uplifted and continues to uplift with your many outreach programs. Thank you. Thank you for your work, and thank you to the Rotary for everything that you do in our community and far beyond. My hope today is that by the end of my report, you will notice few similarities between the mayor that has spoken to you before and Mayor Helfrich 2021. I hope to shed my reputation of doom and gloom, because although I have maintained hope for the past 3 years, it is now that for the first time, I see the sun breaking the horizon and truly shedding the bright rays of prosperity on York City. We have seen the worst year in modern history in York City, but from these ashes, an incredible new York City is blossoming. The first thing I want to do is thank our amazing Bureau of Health staff, our emergency responders, and our codes and property maintenance inspectors for working diligently throughout COVID, exposing themselves to risks that some others have not been exposed to, all while trying to keep us safe from COVID. Our Bureau of Health and emergency response team began their work even prior to the first case of COVID. As one of the few local bureaus of health in the Commonwealth, our preparations and then contact tracing were instrumental in keeping our cases lower than other comparable communities. Working in conjunction with our medical institutions, we continue to provide important services that combat the spread of COVID, including working with Family First Health to provide 200 vaccines just this week. Our police, fire, and property inspectors worked in some of the most uncertain times of this pandemic to enforce non-essential business closures as per Governor Wolf's emergency orders, while maintaining their regular duties that put them in contact with the public when others were distancing themselves from others. At the appropriate time in April 2020, we worked with the county commissioners to strongly advocate for the reopening of businesses in the yellow phase. Our economic and community development team worked to provide rental assistance to those in need, budgeting nearly $570,000 to help York City residents. We provided $145,000 in business grants for small businesses that were not otherwise eligible for other relief funds. Within 2 weeks, we will be announcing another round of $250,000 for businesses that have been left out of other programs. We have helped accommodate restaurants by allowing them to expand into our public spaces to provide outdoor dining options. We hope you have enjoyed that. We continue to monitor the conditions and the spread of COVID as we hope for beneficial effects from the vaccinations and continued cautionary practices. When the numbers subside, we will again be strong advocates for the reopening of businesses, but only based on science and safety of the people of York City and York County. Speaking of the safety of the residents and visitors to York City, the absolute highlight of this topic is my appointment of Commissioner Michael Muldrow. Commissioner Muldrow is universally respected and, in my opinion, has done more to improve our police department in a very short term than any leader I have met or heard of. I would like to share with you just some of the initiatives that he has begun or is working to build in just the first few months. Commissioner Muldrow is leading walk and talks on Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout York City neighborhoods. A variety of individuals from the community and from other law enforcement agencies have been joining him, and people are coming out of their homes just to engage and share their problems, concerns, and praises for York City and our police department. Monthly community police forums have been greatly received. These occur on the first Monday of each month. The last one had to be extended from 1 hour to 2 hours because of the open and positive interactions that occurred. Our Handle and Care Registry has been initiated, working with county government and WellSpan to complete the rollout of this program that allows families to register individuals with physical or mental health concerns, allowing our officers to understand more about the people they may be engaging before the engagement. This is deeply important to me, as I had a friend with mental health issues die in the custody of the York City Police. Perhaps if at that time they understood that he was bipolar, different steps could have been taken to prevent this tragic loss of a very kind and talented young man. In addition to the Handle with Care Registry, Commissioner Muldrow and city staff are working to fund a crisis counselors program. This would provide trained counselors who may be able to intervene or provide additional guidance in situations that may include individuals with mental health issues. Our Group Violence Intervention, or GVI initiative, continues to expand in scope as we learn more from other communities what is really working. Our focus right now is to build the community organization around GVI. The most successful initiatives are embraced and supported by the community. Community organizations lead these initiatives, with law enforcement being a vital component. A surge in support from the community over the last few months makes this a very promising summer. Just a side note, you will be hearing about a lot of small events. We're still being COVID sensitive, but there's a support in the community for a lot of events in our neighborhoods. I'm very excited about this. Another part of GVI is the Credible Messengers Project. Having individuals who have made the wrong decisions come back as employees of the city and interact with our youth to try to share with them the negative outcomes of living a life that involves violence and selling drugs. Thank you to WellSpan for helping to support this new endeavor. In an effort to encourage our local young people to pursue careers with the York City Police Department, the York City Police Cadet Program will be a program to engage and pay young people in the years between they're in high school and the time that they can take the test to become York City police officers. One last item regarding our efforts to improve the safety of York City. There will be a press conference this Friday at 10:30 a.m. at York City Police Department, revealing recent efforts to address gun violence. I can't say much more about the topic of the press conference, but I will say this. York City has no gun factories. York City has no gun stores. York City has no gun shows. These guns don't come from York City. Anyone who buys drugs from our children or supplies guns that end up in the hands of our children should receive more punishment than the kids who have far fewer choices in their lives than the criminals who choose to come to our city and corrupt these minors. I truly hope we can direct more time and resources to those corrupting and supporting the corruption of York City's youth. For my final topic, it is my honor to describe for you a new financial outlook for the city of York. For decades, the city has languished under the weight of our debts and the ever-increasing costs of maintaining the services that our residents and businesses expect. A plague of pension debt and bond payments has hampered many efforts to move our city forward. We engaged many members of the business community as well as elected officials to find solutions, and all roads led back to the same plan. It was time for us to sell our assets. Over the past 10 years or more, issues with upkeep and management had made the York City sewer system more of a burden than an asset. The monetization of this system was recommended by the Pennsylvania Economy League in our 2015 early intervention plan. So it was agreed that it was time to sell the system and use the income of the sale to bring York City out of debt and into the black for the first time in decades. When the sale passes the remaining hurdles, York City will have paid or put into escrow the funds to pay off every debt that the city has, with a remaining balance to put aside some funds for predictable increases in expenses, such as healthcare, salaries, and infrastructure, as well as providing some funds to uplift our residents from the cycles of poverty that lead to many other problems in our city and in our county. In addition to these funds, the recent announcement of COVID relief funds will allow us to develop broadband infrastructure for our residents, educational institutions, and businesses, and to invest in further community support and career training to bring York out of the state of poverty and unrest that it has been mired in for decades. So I hope this sounded optimistic enough for you, but as a realist, I don't think it is optimistic at all. This is happening now. The sun has broken through some very dark clouds, and it is time for us all to work even harder. We have been preparing for the last 3 years to make the changes that we know are needed, and the resources and opportunity that we have prepared for is upon us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and we really appreciate the challenging work and leadership that you have given to the city and all the residents of our largest municipality that affect every resident of our county. We appreciate your leadership and congratulations on the gains that you have realized over very challenging years. So you mentioned fishing I think Megan mentioned fishing. So what are you able to catch in the Codorus?
Oh, smallmouth bass, largemouth bass, red eyes, walleyes, catfish, obviously carp. Others have caught muskie, and I hope at some point we'll get more eels up here, but that's an environmental thing with me. Eels are associated with the mussels in the creek that help clean the creek. So the more eels we have, hopefully the more mussels we'll have, and the cleaner the creek will be. So
veritable smorgasbord of fish. Who knew? Well, thank you for your efforts. That the environment and the creek and waterways have been a passion for yours. So thanks for sharing the multitude of things you can harvest in the creek. And we do have some questions from our members.
Yep.
How many members of the York City Police Department are there? And could you share, maybe short-term, long-term plans for where right sizing or where the best number is for the department?
Yeah, well, we have an ordinance in the city of York, and I actually don't know the origin of it, but it limits the police department to 100 individuals. We have budgeted right now 95 with the hope, and again, the budget last year, it was a mix. It was, we are in a very still, even though I'm very optimistic that we'll get through this, this last budget was a little confusing because on one hand, if things didn't go right, we were bankrupt. And if they did go right, you can't really start spending money before you have it. So we budgeted for 95 police officers. I believe we have 87 that are fully active right now. You always have some that are injured or on deployment or things like that. And we are hoping to get 5 more through the COPS grant, a federal grant. That program has not come out yet this year, but that's where we're at right now. And what was the other part? Where are we hoping to go with it? Or certainly, there's a problem with there's a balance between policing and and fixing the problems that cause us to need this many police. If you go over to York Township, they've got about, I think maybe the same population, and they need what, 15 or 20 cops, and we have 100. So it's obviously not the amount of people that we have, it's that there are problems within our community. So the question is, do you address the problems, or do you continue believing a false belief that you can arrest your way out of the problems? Because every time something happens, another year goes by and a new generation comes in and they've got the same problems and it creates the same results. So, there is this continuous question about how can we make our police more efficient? I'm very interested in Better York's and the county's discussions about, and the city's discussions about a camera program similar to the one over in Lancaster. That will not be a function of the city of York, just as it is not a function of the city of Lancaster, but it has provided amazing results regarding evidence and even preempting crime over in Lancaster. So I'm very interested in that conversation. The idea of more police is very difficult. The idea of police with resources that are force multipliers is very interesting.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, you mentioned in your more bright and sunny outlook, the financial outlook, that the city's languished under the weight of debts, the pensions and bond payments. Could you expand on what it means to get out from under the pension debts?
Well, every year, a pretty large chunk of the general fund goes to paying these pension payments. So right away, and I can't predict, I jumped ahead of myself last year. I'm not going to do it again, but I would hope that there would be a way to, if not find some kind of property tax relief for the city or for the city residents and businesses, to at least be able to assure our residents and businesses that there will not be need for a tax increase for a very long time. We know that the taxes create a downward spiral. It's not something that's beneficial. So, you have to do all these things. So then you have to tax. So then the values of the property and the interest in business investment in the city of York go down. It all works as a complicated web that if you pull on one string, then it has so many other effects. So I'm hoping, and I am committed, as I have been, to making sure we do not in any way increase our taxes. And by having money set aside to pay off all of our bonds, to pay off all of our current pension debt, we will be freeing up money within the general fund that may provide some relief, but can definitely provide concrete assurance that the taxes will not go up.
Thanks for sharing your strategy, Mayor. As you know, we are the Downtown Club, and many of our members are eager to get back to meetings downtown. Could you please give us an update on the Yorktown Hotel project?
I don't have much of an update other than the last little note that I got was summer, fall 2022.
Summer of 2022.
Okay. Summer/fall.
All right.
But I don't want to speak. I don't want to speak to Jack K. I don't want to make that mistake. But I will tell you, I just got an email today that mentioned that timeline.
All right. So President-elect nominee Glenn Miller, get ready. It sounds like it's going to happen during your year. Mayor, could you please share an overview of how to create and expand broadband in the city, and how it could be connected to the broadband project that's going on throughout the county along the rail trail?
This is where I'm going to play the stay in my lane card. I am not that computer guy or that computer infrastructure guy. I have scheduled a meeting with the county and with the consultants that we're talking with right now to determine the best strategy. I also have a meeting coming up with a company that provides that kind of infrastructure. So at this point, I'm not knowledgeable enough nor foolish enough to make a comment on that topic.
Well, we all have our limitations, and smart for you for not venturing into those. Mayor, will you mentioned real estate taxes in answering the pension question. Will you be able to reinstate a tax reduction and thereby make real estate investment more attractive? What are your priorities over the next 3 to 5 years, given the relief from the debts of the past? What's your vision for the future?
I am counting on the Pennsylvania Economy League, who we have contracted with, as well as community forums that we are going to have to determine how we should use any funds above and beyond the pension and bond payment payoffs that we receive. Once we understand what those funds look like, then and the impact to the general fund, then we can start talking about the tax relief. I don't want to jump the gun on that yet, as I did last year. I did not get the support. I actually wanted to provide tax relief last year based on the promise of deals going through, and probably wisely, I was not only advised but denied by City Council the ability to reduce the taxes for the city of York. So it never even got to the level of a vote. It was determined that that support was not there. And again, anything we're doing right now, we are working with a budget that contemplates the sale of an asset. And while it is all progressing properly and well, it's still an expectation of income, not money in hand. So to get to the broader vision, is continuing some of the growth that we have seen by increasing the amount of residential housing in the city of York, by developing the Northwest Triangle into a 21st century technology center. I am really concerned that we are going to do what we did in the 1950s through the 1980s. And while I respect greatly our manufacturers, and I see some of them on this call, I greatly respect the manufacturers of York. We were a strong force in the first industrial revolution in the early and mid 1800s. We were a powerhouse in the second industrial revolution that brought us York International and Pennsylvania Agricultural Works, York Safe and Lock, all these ideas, even up to even up into the 50s, we were still strong. And during those times, individuals took ideas like the York ice machine. It took them 30 years to make that thing profitable. It wasn't until like some kind of heat wave in 1913, I think, that they finally started actually selling these things and making some good money. And then World War I, of course, then expanded that greatly, and then York International became a powerhouse. But these folks took ideas and they invested and they stuck with them. A.B. Farquhar, a whole factory burns down, and he goes and says, PA Small, I can give you 25 cents on the dollar for what we owe you, but if you continue to invest in me, I will create something that will support York for decades. And that's exactly what he did. And during the third industrial revolution, from the technology with TVs and all the way through computers, we were absent. To my knowledge, we were absent, or those that were engaged from York left York with that wealth. We need to produce wealth again here in the city of York. And the way you produce wealth is to take ideas and to take them globally. And there is a fast freight train running right now called the Fourth Industrial Revolution with robotics and artificial intelligence. And there are some people like David Kennedy that some of you may know from Susquehanna Communications, Powder Mill Foundation. He's now has Aspire over in Lancaster. There are folks that are grabbing onto that train and getting that ride. I haven't seen much of it here in York. And I certainly haven't seen much of it here in York City. And I don't want to sit here while we get left behind again. So my vision is support the businesses and the residences throughout the city, but also get our eye on the fastest moving technology and the fastest moving potential for development and wealth creation that exists right now.
Thank you, Mayor. You've received a compliment and a question. Mayor, you provided great leadership last summer through the peak of the potential racial unrest. What's your assessment of the situation now, and are we making progress in that regard?
Thank you very much. I think I took a little risk, but it's funny because there are a few times in life where all of your life experiences seem to come together. And last May and June, that happened for me because I was a protester down in Washington, D.C. I've faced up against lines of police that were trying to move me and get me out of here, and people getting kicked by law enforcement around me. And when I watched what was going on, I realized that the presence of police officers within those crowds was only going to exacerbate our problems. All the people needed was a space and people that were listening to them, and that's what we ended up providing. And while we did have one incident in the city of York that was kind of outside of our range of control, everything else seems to have come out of it very well. We participated and helped create community discussions that are ongoing. They're about to start up again. They slowed down a little bit over the winter, but they're called the 10th at 10, where the community comes together with District Attorney Sunday and Commissioner Muldrow, and they speak their truth, and we listen and we try to find solutions. I think the one statement that I made about people bringing these drugs in, or people bringing the guns into the city, I've always thought that, but that's also coming out of, that's the feeling in the city. Why are you arresting our children when it's others that are corrupting these minors? Now, I'm not going to lay all the blame outside. We've got issues here, and we've got to work on those social issues and the poverty and all the things that drives those decisions for these young people, including mental health issues. But it is definitely time that we address the adults that are contributing to this situation. And those are the kinds of conversations that we're having. And I think both District Attorney Sunday and formerly Commissioner Robinson and now Commissioner Muldrow have gained great respect in the community for having these dialogues and for taking action based on these dialogues.
Mayor, thank you for supporting that dialogue, and certainly your analysis of there are no gun manufacturers, gun stores, or gun shows in the city. That's powerful. I hadn't heard that before. I have two more questions for you, Mayor. What can we as Rotarians focus our efforts on to help the city with the issues that lead to our problems with gun violence?
Well, I gave you kind of a laundry list of things that all need some funding. So maybe we can have more, maybe there's an executive team or a committee that wants to sit down with us. And what I always say when people ask what they can do, I ask, what do you want to do? What do you feel passionate about? And if you're talking about youth and the gun violence, the programs that I mentioned, having more credible messengers so that we have to find a way to get to these kids. I mean, I got a 15-year-old shooting a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. Let's speak truth here. What am I doing to get to them? I can't get to them. I'm not sure if anybody on this call can get to them. Somebody's got to get to them. And so the credible messengers of trying to bring some fairly young people that are willing to express how they have made mistakes, and you got to find that sweet spot of who these young people are going to listen to, because Right now, they're either listening to their peers or it's funny. I've now got, I went through the 90s when there was a real pushback in saying that rap music was part of what's causing the problem. And now I have lovers of rap music coming to me and telling me that rap music is part of the problem. We've got something called Chicago rap right now, which is all about killing somebody and then writing a song about it. And that's essentially what I'm told from some people more knowledgeable than I, that's part of what this murder was this weekend. That this stuff is in their brain, and we've all had people that we've emulated growing up, I think, and unfortunately, in some cases, these folks, these murder musicians, are being emulated. So we've got to find credible people to redirect that. And so the credible messengers is a huge thing that I'm interested in. But let me think about that and talk to my GVI team. And can we circle back and maybe get a committee meeting with you?
That would be excellent, Mayor. Thank you. We appreciate your focusing on the need for credible messengers and funding for the programs, Handle with Care Initiative, Crisis Counselors, and the Gun Violence Initiative. Yes, please get back to us. And here's a follow-up question for you with the Gun Violence Initiative. Are there going to be any type of curfews for youth in the summer to aid in gun violence and other activities?
Well, we have the existing curfew, and the existing curfew will be enforced. I have not contemplated any additional curfews. So we set up a program last year, and I think, if I recall, it got passed, that that basically youth could not be out without some kind of confirmable note out past 11, I think it was. And that was just kind of a tweak to the existing curfew ordinance that was on the books.
Thank you, Mayor. One more question. Any hints or announcements of new businesses coming into the city?
Got a couple working on, I can't tell you about.
Right.
So a couple big ones that we're trying to work on. And I'm sorry I wasn't prepared for that question. Otherwise, I would have a whole menu. Literally, I would have their menus of the new restaurants and things that are coming into York. And please, if you haven't been downtown lately at Central Market, Monet's has got great Southern kind of Cajun food. There's an Egyptian place in Central Market now. There's the Wild and Krabby Guys. I feel like I eat there 2 or 3 times a week. But they've got amazing food down there. So definitely, we've still got a lot of good food cycling into the city, and with the assistance of the federal government, I think we've still got to work to support our restaurants, but I think many of our restaurants are pretty stable. Some are not, but in this pandemic, no matter across what sector you're looking, we're losing some. I'm trying to think.
Well, this Friday is First Friday, so it's a great time to get downtown to enjoy the restaurants. And also, Mayor, you're welcome to join us on Earth Day, which is April 22nd. Silas is leading a Rotary networking walking event on the rail trail, and we're all going to enjoy Central Market before or after that event at noon. So we hope you can join us then. And we appreciate your leadership, Mayor. We appreciate you joining us today and sharing not only the struggles that you're facing on behalf of the citizens, but also your optimistic outlook. And thank you for keeping looking on the bright side. And in honor of your comments with us today, we have a book that we'll ask you to sign the book plate for. That book is called How Do You Feel by Lizzie Rockwell, and it will be presented to the York YMCA. Thank you very much.
I love it. Thank you all, and congratulations on your 105th anniversary.
Thank you. We knew you'd like that history
Yeah,
component.
I do.
as an aficionado of York's history. Well, next week, our meeting will feature a virtual program by Rotarian Robert Lambert, president of the York County Libraries, who will speak about National Library Week and exciting changes coming to our local libraries. And Rotarians, our closing song is Bert's Pick, Cara Mia by Jay and the Americans. Congratulations, Bert. Happy trails. We hope to see you at upcoming meetings. Take care, all. Thank you.